New York retailers are required to comply with the New York Retail Worker Safety Act. The act aims to create safer work environments. What exactly does that mean for employers? This video breaks down New York's Retail Worker Safety Act requirements, its implications for employers, and how businesses can prepare for compliance. Let's get started. By June 2nd, 2025, all retail businesses with 10 or more employees, excluding those selling food for consumption on the premises, must comply with these new Retail Worker Safety Act requirements. But what exactly does that involve? Let's break it down step by step. First, let's define workplace violence. The New York Retail Worker Safety Act defines workplace violence broadly as any act or threat of physical violence, harassment, intimidation, or other threatening behavior that occurs at the work site, including threats and verbal abuse to physical assaults. The New York Retail Worker Safety Act requires retail employers with 10 or more employees to implement comprehensive workplace violence prevention measures, including policies and training programs. Let's highlight some key definitions. Retail businesses are defined as any entity that employs at least 10 retail employees, except those that sell food for consumption on premise. Retail employees are defined as individuals working in a retail store. To comply with the New York Retail Worker Safety Act, covered employers must adhere to several key requirements, which are broadly categorized into three main areas: workplace violence prevention policies, employee training programs, and silent response button systems. Let's review each area more closely. The New York Retail Worker Safety Act requires covered retail businesses to implement a workplace violence prevention policy before June 2nd of 2025. The workplace violence prevention policy must cover the following: identification of risk factors. The policy must outline specific risk factors that place employees at risk, such as working late at night or early morning, handling cash transactions with the public, working alone or in small groups, or allowing uncontrolled access to the workplace. Preventative measures. The policy must list in detail the methods for preventing workplace violence, including incident reporting systems. Legal protections. The policy must address employee rights and protection under federal, state, and local laws regarding workplace violence. The New York Retail Worker Safety Act requires covered retailers to conduct workplace violence prevention training for employees upon hire and annually thereafter. Employers with fewer than 50 retail employees can retrain their workforce every 2 years. Businesses must comply with this training requirement by June 2nd, 2025. Your workplace violence prevention training program must cover three areas. The first area is self-protection strategies. This involves employees learning practical measures to protect themselves from potential violence. The second area is de-escalation techniques. This involves training that includes tactics for diffusing potentially violent situations. Lastly, emergency procedures. This involves employees being familiar with emergency protocols, including active shooter drills and security alarms. New York retail employers with 500 or more retail employees statewide must implement silent response buttons for internal alerts. Rather than alerting law enforcement, silent response buttons request assistance from individuals such as security officers, managers, or supervisors. They become effective on January 1st, 2027. To ensure compliance with the New York Retail Worker Safety Act, retail employers should take the following steps: assess existing workplace violence prevention policies and identify gaps in compliance with the New York Retail Worker Safety Act. Develop and implement a training program by creating or updating training materials to meet the Act's requirements and the deadline of June 2nd, 2025. Implement a silent response button system by evaluating system options and establishing a plan for installation by the 2027 deadline. We have concluded our overview of the key requirements of New York's Retail Worker Safety Act. By carefully following these guidelines, you will not only comply with the law but also foster a safer environment for your employees. Consider sharing this video with your HR team if you found it helpful. Remember, workplace safety is a shared responsibility. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay safe. For more information on New York workplace violence prevention training, visit viewbiz.com. Thanks for watching.